You know, last weekend we went to
Thank
go
you.
visit Matthew. Sure. Went to the airport. They bumped the flight back. American Airlines. And then they bumped it again.
Okay, I think we're ready now.
And we couldn't leave.
If I can
We had to spend the night.
have y'all attention.
I think today was about 4.
Excuse me, we're ready. Finally, I apologize for the delay. Go ahead and start this meeting. It is 7:19. Notice of regular meeting, Board of Aldermen of the City of Brookshire will conduct a regular meeting Thursday, November 4th, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. in the council chambers of the Brookshire Municipal Building located at 4029 5th Street. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to lead us in prayer? Anyone?
I'll say the prayer, Mayor.
Good.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, Father, that we're allowed to gather, Father, in freedom. Father, we thank you that the citizens has came to support the city council. We ask that everything that we do tonight at this meeting is pleasing to you, Father. We thank you for all the blessings that you bestow upon us. Let us just lead the city in the direction that you would have us to go. We thank you, Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Ms. Corner, can you do the roll call or?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor Branch,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Green,
Present.
Alderman Stamps,
Present.
Alderwoman Branch,
Here.
Alderwoman Taylor,
Here.
Alderman Jones.
Present.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Let's move to agenda item number 3, public comments. Michael? I don't know the last name. Can't read it. Is there a Michael in here? Okay. How about Jordan Williams? Jeremiah Hill. Okay. We'll move on to agenda item number 4. Discussion and possible action regarding the update emergency policies, procedures, and restrictions relating to the facilities and operation regarding COVID-19. Officer Phillips.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Updated for county-wide, that's still at 60. Brookshire, we still have 27. We haven't got an update yet on the next date we're gonna be the vaccination, but we will inform you guys as we get the information.
Okay. Thank you, Officer Phillips. Now we'll move on to council. If it's okay with y'all, I would like to skip to number 8. And we have quite a few people here, and they also have children.
You think, Mayor, is that number 9? You mean item number 9 for the
9?
lease?
Yes. Okay. Item number 9, discussion and possible action regarding a park area lease agreement between the City of Brookshire and Brookshire Youth Sports League. Mr. Jenkins?
Thank you, Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, I represent BYSL as the president, my brother and the founder. My brother also is one of the founders. We are here before you again, bringing up the lease that we talked about 4 weeks ago. In your package, you should have everything that you requested the mayor and I to get together on. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer those questions now.
The only question I have, Mr. Jenkins, you understand that the concession stand would just be the bottom part and it doesn't include the top part of the concession stand?
No, that's what I was asking for. I was asking for both parts of the building. Is there any reason why we couldn't have
Yeah,
both parts?
there's stuff that's stored up there that we can't move at the present time.
Okay, I was up there.
We used to lease that,
I didn't
that part out
see
too.
anything stored up there no more than you all built a closet, some type of unit to hide the cameras section in it, and which is built in the wrong place. But that's the only thing that's up there. It's nothing up there at all.
Unless Public Works removed the table. It used to be tables and chairs, and then we used to rent the building out.
Yeah, we used to rent that out.
Right, it's nothing there.
Okay.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah.
What?
Only thing up there, there's no running water up there, and we got cameras and stuff that, after I talked to the cameraman, he should have nobody up there in case something happened, and that he need to go back and get in there and pull the video and stuff or something, you know. That's what he said. Y'all decide what y'all wanna do.
Can I ask you why you want that part?
That part is where we can do training also up there is another avenue where we won't have to be going from place to place to try to do training, to train the new kids for umpiring, basketball. We have to have some type of place where we can sit and conduct meetings also. And also if we fix it, it's not gonna be anything coming out of the city pocket, because at the present moment, it's unfunctional. No more than what the cameras is up there, because it doesn't have running water. From what I was gathered, it had a pipe bust, and if you didn't pull all the drywall and stuff out of it, you probably got mold. And so it needs to be torn out to the stud and then replaced. And that's something that we don't mind doing, to bring that building up to code. Because right now, it's probably not up to code to be utilized in the top section. And if the top section may have mold, then the bottom section might have mold also. So really what you're looking at is a total gut out.
Well, you just brought something that we wasn't aware of.
Yeah, so that's not in the draft that you have, that any kind of renovations aren't included in that contract. And besides, that's because it's public property, we'd have to do, I'm willing to bet if it's that status you're talking about, we probably have to go out for bids on it, just because it sounds like that'd be a high dollar job, but that'd be on the city side. And we couldn't lease that out
Right.
and let a non-public party do that. So we'd have to do that. That's just on the city to do that for bidding purposes.
I don't have a problem with anything else on the lease except just to keep it at the bottom level.
Okay, well, I take what I can get. I have a problem with that.
That's your motion, Ms. Branch? Is that your motion?
I make a motion that we go forth with lease to the Brookshire Youth Sports League as written in the draft presented to council tonight.
Second.
So council, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, that I think there was only 4 items from last time, 4 or 5 items from last time that were just undecided. And so in the version that the mayor and Mr. Jenkins have discussed, that I think the primary deal was that the revenue split from the concessions would be 70% of that revenue would go to the Brookshire Youth Sports League, 30% would go to the city. Is that correct?
That is not correct.
Okay.
The 730 was based on if a team come into the city and wanted to rent that particular part out, or we have a tournament to raise funds for BYSL. 7% of those funds would go to us, 30% would go for infrastructure going to the city.
The concession stand was 100% theirs.
Oh, that's right.
We need to make sure that's clear in the lease then. The, we just need to also make sure that it's clear that there, no funding from the lease is gonna be, like I said, to improvements or maintenance. That's on the city, that's not part of the lease. We'll just make sure that's clear. The other part, I think that Mr. Jenkins wanted a specific point of contact, and the mayor thinks 2 points of contact would be proper, so I think if we can, and that's anybody, the mayor suggests his number and Mr. Kelly, since they're there. Another open item was the signage, and Mr. Jenkins suggested that just he's gonna tie down the signs to the fencing around the edge of the deal
Right,
with.
but quick ties,
Yeah.
that's what all of them use right now.
Okay.
And we have it at the, high school on the fence now, it haven't came down so far. And, the signage is done by Mr. Steph. He's with advertising, and he showed us exactly what we need to do to make sure that those signage don't come down.
And so that was that, and the other one was, we just need and you can probably, this, Mr. Jenkins, we can do it from the city. I think we need like a map or just a drawing or something that showed the outline of the area, just so everybody's clear on what it is that's actually being leased. Because you said soccer fields and the baseball fields, of course, all that, the whole thing. As long as we had that drawing in there, we'd be good for that. The only other thing I think we might want to add, and we don't have to add it tonight, but we just need to make sure that it's going to be part of the agreement, is both the city schedule and your schedule, just so that we're not having in conflict, because it could be that we don't want to have you leased and you think you have a tournament time and the city's got some conflicting deal. So, and I know in the lease it says the city's calendar would
We'll take precedence.
but we wouldn't let that happen if there was a big tournament and we had the same day. So it'd be better if we had schedules attached to it. So if as soon as you get your schedule set, the city, we can put those in there, so everybody's clear on what's being done at the park.
The reason we can't give you a set schedule due to the fact that Little League and the system don't start until March timeframe, and it goes all the way up to July. I can't give you a schedule right now, because I won't know what it would be. But like I was saying, the city have first priority. We can move games and times. We can move those things, it's easy. It's harder for the city to move things that you all plan that cost thousands of dollars. Us, we can move. We just have to get on our system and let everybody know. We can't do it right now until the city finish what they're doing. And then we come back online.
And you do realize EDC's going to renovate one of those fields. I'm not sure when that's gonna take place, because I'm not part of EDC, but I don't think that it'll bother y'all at all.
Oh, no, I heard, but I don't know when it's supposed to take place.
Me and you in the same boat.
You know, so I don't like to speculate, but, you know, if you are gonna approve us to use the field, we only have a short period of time to get them ready. Or I'm gonna have to ask the school district if they'll still allow us to use their fields, which I don't know. They was gracious enough to let us use them for this year. I don't know what their decision's gonna be moving forward, because everything costs, and I just don't know. And we have about 100 kids that's going to this program, and it's gonna be bigger come when our next spring season starts. You know, when you look at it, it's only getting bigger and bigger. It's not gonna get small. Only way to get small if we fold out. And I would tell you this: everything is coming due. We have bills that's coming due, and we have to make a decision on what we're gonna do as an organization. And what I mean by that is that if we don't have nowhere to play, if you all do not allow us to play out here, and the school.
We
board
just made a
decides-
motion that you're gonna be allowed. I just wanna let you know.
Oh, okay.
If EDC comes out there and says, we're gonna take one of the fields and put AstroTurf on it, don't be surprised, but
Okay,
I
I'm
don't,
good with that.
I
I'm
don't
good
think
with that.
that'll be happening tomorrow, Mr. Jenkins.
Okay.
In the back, you had a question?
Is there gonna be a time-based provision there where the city can't just decide on Monday, they're gonna hold a bid on Friday, which conflicts with their existing schedule? So that he's not displaced for a last-minute decision made by maybe the youth action
the lease, they have to give us 90 days notice
Any events?
if anything comes available, while they have to have, that's not already planned. So that's what's in the lease right now. It's a 90-day notice that they're required to give us, so we can make adjustments as we need to have done. And it shouldn't be a really big problem, because most of the city stuff is already on a planned schedule all the way through.
Okay, well, we got a motion. And
Second.
Second.
you seconded, Mr. Stamps?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Jones, your vote?
For.
Okay. Mr. Green?
Four.
Ms. Taylor?
4.
Okay. Motion carries.
Go play ball.
Last but not least, when we'll be able to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, all right, I'm sitting down.
Okay. Mr. Pruitt,
Yeah.
Mr. Pruitt, go ahead and do Gunda.
Once you do the river, the item number 5.
Welcome.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
You're welcome, welcome, welcome.
Tell them they can go home.
Okay, we'll skip back to number 5 on the agenda item.
Good, they know.
Thank y'all, y'all
Welcome.
be
Thank
careful.
Hey, Mr. Jenkins, switch off.
I told you they was gonna come every.
Yeah. Okay, agenda item number 5, presentation and discussion regarding proposed residential development by Riverway Properties.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilman, for all the.
State your name, please.
Oh, my name's John Sanacero.
Remember if I tap.
And thanks for having us on the agenda tonight. My team here with me tonight is Michael Foley.
Thank you.
Jordan Williams with R.G. Miller, our engineer. We also brought in our builder, Pulte Homes, National Home Building Company, and that's Lee and Richard. There he is, right there. We're here to tell you about a little bit about our project and some alternatives we have. We've been visiting with the mayor ahead of this. I hope you know a little bit about what's going on. We've got the England property under contract, which is all the land around the school complex about 359 and 362 in Royal. I think there's a map in your package. If anyone needs a little bit of help, I can share it. A little bit about me. I've been in the real estate business for 30 years. We've been developing land since 1997. We're in home building. We're generally anything with real estate. We're using land. We're involved. So we put this land under contract several months ago from the England family, Pattison England family. And we've been working through various utility issues, drainage issues, et cetera. And glad to be here tonight to tell you a little bit about it. So we've been talking we have 2 different site plans that we're working on. We have an agenda that we're working through kind of to talk a little bit about development issues and what's going on up here. So for discussion points on our package, it's just one of the things that we're to discuss is developers in and around Houston area need some sort of public finance vehicle to reimburse development costs. It's either usually water, sewer, and drainage are reimbursed in those, and the vehicles to do that are either a municipal utility district or MUD, or now they're doing a lot more in Texas, PIDS, Public Improvement District. Same finance vehicle to reimburse the developer for costs associated with the development. The proposal we're putting on the table is to annex the property into the city. And it's approximately 170 acres, excuse me. Everything from Royal, coming down 362 and then back around. We have this plan I can show you.
One of the reasons we want to come into the city is because the city has jurisdiction over the real estate. One is first development going on, major development. We propose anywhere from 400 and, correct me if I'm wrong, 450 to 550 lots. And the difference in those two plans is using county standards or developing your own standards. So if you see the land plan that's in there, the land plan would be this one. The last one. This one. That one right there, that long one.
Here you go, sir.
Oh, okay.
I can talk really loud.
Yeah, we just need to get it on the recording.
Oh, okay, thank you. Do I have to start over?
No, sir, you're good.
All right. Anyway, this plan is 172 acres, 530 lots. I overspoke it. It consists of 40 and 45-foot lots. Pulte Homes is, I'm gonna correct me if I'm wrong, number 3 in the country, number 3rd largest home builder in the country. They want to partner up on this deal, and this is the plan they came up with. I'm gonna let Lee Jones of Pulte discuss this with you, and then I'll come back. Lee?
I'm sorry, sir, what's your name again?
My name is John Santasero,
Okay,
Riverway Properties.
okay.
Lee Jones, Pulte Homes.
Hi, Lee Jones with Pulte Homes. Can I see that, John?
Oh, Lee Jones.
So, same name?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
You didn't share with him, he on a time limit.
I'm on a time limit.
Yeah. I warned him. He was supposed to explain.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I'll talk fast. Okay, so everyone has the land plan, like John said, that shows the 530 lots, and that's made up with 265 40-foot wide lots, 120 feet deep, and 265 45-foot wide lots, also 120 feet deep. If you look at the land plan, we've got two major entrances, one off 362, which will be the primary, and another one, of course, off 359. The one off 362, you can see the green space north of the entrance. There's a couple pipeline corridors going through there, so the area was too small to put homes on anyway. So we decided to make the entire green area an amenity park with swimming pool, splash pad, swings, parking on the north side of the main entrance. And then on the other side, the 359 side, if you see what looks to be a lake kind of in the southern portion, that is going to be an amenity lake with trails going around it. It's not just a detention pond that has cattails growing in it. It's an actual lake. The reason for the lot sizes of this size is so that we can have more homes, because if we did larger lots, it doesn't matter. We're doing the same homes. The product is exactly the same. So we're trying to keep the homes a little bit more affordable by putting them on slightly smaller lots than the 50s, which is what the county goes for. Any questions on that? Concerns? Am I doing okay with time?
Yeah, this is the key right here.
Okay. Richard, regarding the extra sheet that you have, do you want to kind of walk through that?
Yeah, that's, what we're asking for is, we
Show
just,
them the sheet that you're looking at first.
this is one of the handout. Really, the financial, I guess, impact of the difference between 40 and 45-foot lots and 50-foot lots. Obviously, with 40 and 45s, you get about 80 more lots. The house we put on the 40 and 45 is gonna be the same as we put on the 50. So at our average sales price of 265, that's, obviously additional revenues for the city and more importantly for the school district. So when you look at just the school district side, that additional revenue from those 80 lots is about $280,000, and they could float a $4.5 million bond issue just off the increase. When you look at total build out of this project, Royal could, that $1.8 million, they could float a $30 million bond issue without a tax increase. And like the 4.5 would also be without a tax increase. So that's sort of the impact of the numbers in total, and then just the impact of another 80 lots and what that means to the city and to the school district.
In the package that says Pulte on it, there's some examples of building product, or you found it, Ms. Teller, and so you can look through that, and if you had any questions. So we're talking about density. Usually when you have a site, I'm going to say that's 3 to an acre, 3.5 to an acre overall is the number they use. And we have a lot of open space. I don't know what the density is on this one, but because of the detention quantity that's required by Kitty Brookshire, we have to over-detain for what's normal in the greater Houston area. That creates a lot of nice open space on the project. The other thing that we had on it, so number one repeat was the finance vehicle, the lot mix, and then the last thing we talked about, and I don't know if this is approachable right now, Mayor, so stop me, was there's a corner of our northern tract, which you're looking right at it, Mr. Jones, which is on the Pattison side, and that little piece right there, we're trying to put on our north track, because we're buying the northern piece also. And one of the things we're trying to do is get that line straightened out. Right there. And so that's on our wish list of items, our points of discussion.
You're talking about this little spot right here, correct?
No,
Where are you
ma'am.
talking about?
It's this piece right here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So your ETJ line comes up here,
Uh-huh.
and this piece right here. And
Okay.
we're buying this whole piece, which the rest of it's in Pattison. So we're trying to straighten this line out. Any questions?
Sure.
Good. Is that a unanimous approval then? I gotta ask.
So I'll just say that the group's here just to introduce themselves, and that, if, depending on how fast or what needs to happen, you might be seeing some of these faces come before you as the project moves along. I know there's some work we have to do with the water district, and then if we do something with these ETJ lines, of course, that means work with Pattison as well. And so, but I just want to give these guys an opportunity so they can see you face to face, so you wouldn't have, just a name and an email without something to back it up. But
If somebody had questions, does one of y'all have cards that
Yeah.
you could?
You have a card. Let me grab one. What's your name, sir? John?
We gonna stick with Lee Jones.
My email is
Thank you.
john@riverwayproperties.com.
Thank you.
Mr. Stamp, you have one?
Nah, she said she ran out.
Oh.
Council, there's going to be a lot of documents associated with this, like different types of documents. Primary ones are going to be for the annexation that was mentioned. That's through a development agreement. We've done a few of those for smaller properties. This will be considered a little bit larger line, but it's no different than what we've done before. The state legislature has really limited the cities on what we can do as far as being proactive with the annexation. So one of the only avenues we have to work with property owners in ETJ is a development agreement. So probably on the schedule, if things move forward, that's the first document you'll see. But I know with Lata and I, and with the mayor and some of you, will be definitely looking at the preliminary drafts of that as it goes, it goes through the process before it gets to council for decision. So you'll be well aware of what's in it before it gets presented to you for approval.
So, are you and the mayor gonna work out things with the water district?
Yeah, we'll have some meeting, I mean, because the way the water district's doing some, like, administrative changes, and so we'll need to work out how this particular project works with those administrative changes. And then also just for the general structure of the project, there's terms in the development agreement that are, relate to water and sewer and drainage and all those things. So we'll work with appropriate bodies to make sure that those provisions of development agreement are addressed correctly before it's submitted to you for approval.
Mr. Stamp, this is the piece of property when I requested to have a joint meeting.
Yes.
This was the property I was
Okay.
talking about. I just didn't mention it.
Okay.
Or do you recommend we still have a joint meeting with the water
Yeah, I
district?
think it'd be helpful, just because of,
I do too.
yeah. So, I mean, that's why I say there's gonna be other meetings and everything that we'll have to do, but just so you're not shocked, whatever, a month or two down the road, if a document gets put before you, that you'll be fully aware of what it's about and the content of that document.
Okay.
And we're thrilled that y'all are coming our way.
I'm glad to see this project coming to our city.
She said,
And I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure everything goes smooth with this project. And I just thank you for bringing it to our community. Thank you.
We're excited about it, and thank you.
Mm.
There's no action,
No
it's just a
action.
presentation.
Okay. Next, we'll go to agenda item number 8. Discussion and possible action.
thank y'all.
Thank
Good night, gentlemen.
Look forward to
Thanks.
seeing y'all again.
Yeah, we're gonna skip shit number 8.
But yeah, that's another presentation.
That's gonna, might be.
Yeah. If y'all hear
Anyway,
this, that's
we'll
their
skip
cue.
into agenda
gonna
item
cut it
number
short.
8.
They gonna cut it short.
Discussion and possible action regarding a traffic and thoroughfare plan study performed by Gunda Corporation.
I'm with,
Thank you, sir.
my name is Raghu Veturi. I'm with Gunda Corporation in Houston. I'm here with Lata Krishna Rao, our planning group manager. Today, I'm actually going to talk about the status of the project that we were authorized back in 2020. We were authorized to start this project in summer of 2020. Our scope actually involves doing a traffic calming study for 2 of your neighborhoods and developing traffic calming guidelines for the city, and then also coming up with a master or major thoroughfare plan for your city. So I'm just happy to report to you that we have drafts of all of those already done, and we presented it to you for your review and consideration, and then also eventually for some adoption. I briefly prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and probably you have copies of this with you today. Brief agenda is an introduction. We're going to talk about the neighborhood traffic calming studies that we have done for those 2 neighborhoods, the citywide traffic calming guidelines report that we have done, and then also the master major thoroughfare plan report, and then we'll talk about the next steps as well. Just to give you a background, we actually met with the city council back in January of 2021 to give you an overview of what exactly this process will look like. And at that time, we provided you with a very elaborate presentation of what is a major thoroughfare plan, what are traffic calming guidelines, what is the general industry practice, what are the other cities doing in this area, as well as similar sized cities in the nation. And then we also came up with an outline of what we're going to do with the neighborhoods for the 2 neighborhoods calming studies that we did. The next sheet actually shows you 2 maps. The first map on your left-hand side shows you your city boundaries, and then some street network there, just to show you, what type of roadways you have, collectors, freeway, tollway, and major thoroughfare. And then the right-hand side picture shows you a zoomed-in version of the same level. And then it actually also has some location of your stop control, signals, and lights, and all those things as well. That's just for your information. I'm gonna focus more on the neighborhood traffic calming studies, because when we started the project, that was the point of focus at the time. The two neighborhoods under consideration at the time were Crystal Lakes Drive and Dry Brook Drive. We actually performed field visits, and we also did some assessments, during peak hours as well as during off-peak hours. And for each of those neighborhoods, we recommended two design alternatives. One of them is speed humps, and then the other one is a road narrowing alternative. And then the next sheet shows you where exactly the speed humps should be located, and then the appropriate traffic control devices, such as stop signs and any other regulatory signs that will be needed. That's one of the options. And then the second option actually shows, in lieu of speed humps, what else can we do? This actually shows you the road narrowing option, wherein you actually narrow the road by providing physical obstructions on either side of the road at some regular intervals, and we can provide some detailed conceptual layouts at a later point. But this is a very rough layout. This is just an option for you at this, for your consideration at this time. And then it also has some other regulatory sign requirements that we have to post. And then for the other neighborhood, Dry Brook is also a similar methodology, which actually shows you the speed humps as well as some road narrowing options. There is a report that we actually presented to you today with your agenda packet that actually clearly shows you field observations in detail, the type of analysis we've done, the crash analysis that we looked at, some of the accidents that were happening, over the past 12 months or so. We reported all that in that report, and we considered several options, before we came up with this. So that's the two neighborhood traffic calming studies. I'm going to move on to the traffic calming guidelines for the citywide, and this is the one. This is the second report that is attached to your agenda package today. This is the one where we actually going to talk about what are the available practices out there in the state as well as in the country. We actually also presented to you a form, whenever a resident is facing a problem in this area related to traffic calming, speeding, or cut-through traffic or more traffic. What they can do is they can actually fill this form, and they can either provide their information, their email address line, and then submit it to you, and then we can actually, as a city, review it and see what the issue is, and then we can start looking at it. There is a detailed report that was provided as to how the city should consider moving forward the traffic calming issue, and not necessarily installing traffic calming devices everywhere, but it should be in an organized manner. There are some set principles and guidelines that are available out there. We actually developed a toolbox for every situation that you may encounter possibly. I'm not going to say like all the issues, but majority of the issues that can be looked at, and that is also attached to your agenda package today. We have about 6 or 7 sheets like this in your report. It will tell you what is the type of the measure, where is it applicable, the pros and cons of it, and then the issues that may come along with that implementation, and also the cost of each of those improvements. So that may become handy when you start considering traffic calming device implementation for your future roadway compliance. Okay. The third report that we attached to your agenda package today is the master or major thoroughfare plan. So what is a major thoroughfare plan? Major thoroughfare plan is a blueprint of transportation systems aimed at meeting the long-term needs, also mobility needs and access needs. We reviewed various documents in preparing this report for you. The city has developed a comprehensive plan back in 2019, 2020, I think. We reviewed that in very detail. There is a land use map and ETJ map that was developed. We also reviewed that. We reviewed Waller County Comprehensive Strategic Plan, Waller County Transportation Plan, and also HGAC's Regional Transportation Plan and Master Thoroughfare Plan as well to put this plan together. We looked at the transportation plan in context. We reviewed your existing conditions in the area and also the growth patterns that may occur over the next 20, 25 years. So our future horizon here is at 2045. That's what we focused on right now. So the next sheet actually shows you a map. This map actually is only Waller County Thoroughfare Plan, if you look at it. And then you also see city boundary in this map. And then some street network that are associated with the city. And then if you look at the next sheet, this actually shows the city street network and then possible extensions to your city roadway network. And then you can actually see Waller County plan faded away in the same map. And then if you go on to the next page, that's where we overlaid the city's proposed thoroughfare plan onto the Waller County thoroughfare plan, so it all makes sense. We don't actually connect roadways, in a discontinuous manner, but we have to look at it from a regional perspective. We also have to look at it from a county, and then also from an area-wide perspective. So, as you can see in this map, there are some dotted lines where we have to provide some extensions, connections. Some of them are already planned by Waller County. Some of them are planned by TechStar. And then there are some roadways you may have to upgrade from minor collector to major collector, or some you may have to leave it as local roads. In this report, we also provided you some typical sections, as you can see, as to what each roadway should look like. The one on the left-hand side is a thoroughfare plan. This is pretty much covered by either TechStar or Waller County within the city of Brookshire limits. But then if you can pay attention to the right-hand side of this slide here, this is the more applicable typical sections for the city of Brookshire. The first one is the major collector, what type of amenities you need to provide for your future, and then also the minor collector, and then at the bottom, this is the residential or local roads, how it should be. And again, these are all ideal plans. We have to look at various other things, when you consider for this implementation. So the next steps, before I go to the next steps, I also want to point out, we just heard about a residential development, that is coming up in this area, and it is very important for us to consider all those kinds of developments that are happening in the city. And if you have some kind of an adapted plan, like a major thoroughfare plan, it will be easy for us to see what kind of roadways they are proposing and how are they impacting, what kind of agreements we have to make with those kind of developers for an organized growth, and so that the city actually has all these amenities for future development. So with that, I will leave at this, and I look forward to your feedback, because we're actually looking for more feedback from you guys, because you live here, we have a lot more input. Please provide it to us, and we would like to take that and incorporate into those reports and do it.
Thank you.
Hey, I have a question. Have you all, what experience do you have in helping a city implement zoning?
Sure.
My name is Lata Krishna, and I've been helping the city recently with their development services. So my experience, I have about 30 years of experience as a planning director and a community development director. And most of the cities, I used to work in Connecticut, and then in Texas, I've worked with HAB zones. dealt with zoning almost, all my life, and in Texas, that I'm seeing a number of cities like Brookshire and Houston that don't have zoning. But, like I said, my last experience was 14 years with the city of Maryland, which was, so a lot of experience with zoning. Currently, as a consultant, I'm helping cities rewrite their zoning regulations and also helping them update their comprehensive plans.
Okay, well, those are much bigger cities than we are.
Actually, yes and no. Our team focuses on small cities, small municipal cities. We don't do work in cities like Houston. Most of the cities that I deal with, the smallest one is 5,000 population, and right now the biggest one is about not even 100,000. So our team focuses on
Okay.
small towns because that's my expertise. You know, when I started in Pearland, it was 35,000, and then eventually, right now, it's 125. So I saw it triple in size, and I think that's where my experience is, helping cities grow and navigate this growth spurts that they have, and make sure that it's a community that offers good quality of life. So.
Yes, and that's what we're looking for here.
I understand
Is
that.
is it a study that has to be done before will be able to start that procedure?
To adopt zoning.
Yes.
So, I know, I've worked with Justin. I was in Lubbock for 10 months, and the interim director. That's one big city, actually, 250,000 population, but Justin and I worked together there, and so there is a process to adopt zoning. I mean, the shortest would be basically a couple of public hearings, and you vote on it and get it adopted, but what we would recommend is have a public participation section, get some input from the community so that the community is supporting that. The process is, like I said, the basic process is just, it's a public hearing process to adopt a zoning.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll make that a future agenda item
Yes, sir.
tonight. Thank you, Mr. Green.
And I just wanted to add that, people look at Houston and say, well, Houston doesn't have zoning, Brookshire doesn't have zoning. You still have development standards, and the only difference between for some like a city like Houston or Brookshire or some other city that has zoning is the land use is regulated. So on a piece of parcel, the zoning map tells you your zone residential, you can only have single family residential, so you can't have commercial, industrial. However, the more important part is the development standards, which you have. And I think one of the things we have done, which I would like to present when we get some chances, we have looked at your development standards, we have looked at your corridors, and we have made some recommendations on how the standards can be improved.
Mhm.
So, and I just wanted to point that out because zoning necessarily may or may not cover this. You have the ability to still have good development standards, landscaping requirements, street cross-sections, sidewalks, open space requirements, buffers, fencing. Those are some of the things that are important in the community. Open space requirements through planting, subdivision. So there are a lot of things that you can do without zoning, except regulate the actual use that goes on the piece of property.
Okay. All right.
Council, if you had, actually had one question, actually, kind of touches on both of what you said. I know that we kind of adapted what you requested, Councilman Green. You wanted, I think Councilman Green or Councilman Stamps, I can't remember who requested an item about the semi-truck traffic that's pretty prevalent here and what we could do to address that. So, so I think by kind of with both of those answers, we just have a couple council meetings ago approved a plat for Empire West, phase 2. So, I mean, I assume even with that, we're gonna start seeing a lot more traffic that we already see with Amazon and all these other groups coming in. Just in general, based on your thoroughfare study, what are some things the city could do right now to start even begin to looking at addressing heavy commercial traffic or planning for something they could do?
Yeah, I think the first thing that we need to do right now is to have some kind of a master thoroughfare plan in place. And then as soon as we adapt that, that has recommendations to do some kind of impact studies, like, those big developments, how are they going to impact your neighborhoods or roadways and things like that. Whether you allow trucks on only certain roadways within the city or not. And then for the other roadways where you're not allowing the trucks, you can have to come up with some kind of a regulation, only certain time of the day or no trucks at all. But they all need to be reviewed on a case by case.
Have you looked at our city ordinance regarding trucks? Okay, I'd be happy to share that with you tomorrow.
So I think it requires, like when you approve the development, I think there should be some kind of an impact study that needs to be done. Not just from traffic, but also from other aspects to it, like the planning, how does it impact other developments that may happen in the future. All these things need to be considered as one group.
So one of the challenges we had working on the thoroughfare plan was, you asked about zoning. So when the city has zoning, some of the uses are predictable. We know exactly where all the industrial uses are going to be, where all the commercial uses are going to be, in what area, single family. So it's easier to, predict some of the traffic. However, we also, when you look at the region, though, Brookshire is just a small part of the entire region, and you're engulfed with growth all around. So we made sure that we also looked at the regional growth, and you have a lot of thoroughfares that you may or may not have control. I-10
We
is a
don't.
big one, right? So we also looked at the impacts of what the traffic system does and what the thoroughfare plan does, because it's a chicken and the egg kind of a situation. What comes first? Do lane uses happen because of access, or is a thoroughfare built because of the lane uses? So Iton is a great example. It's out of your control, and obviously, having single-family residential on both sides is not an option. But so we looked at some of those factors too. So it's a little, I guess, different when you look at a city with no zoning, because we have to make these predictions based on what the market and what the thoroughfare plan, how does it provide access to these sites?
And then lastly, I'm just going to deviate a little bit here. Whenever you hear complaints about traffic calming, and then there is a construction along a freeway or something like that, it's quite natural when there is an incident on a freeway, people will tend to exit and then start using the local road. That's when people will start complaining. This is my very recent experience with a person in Size City. We actually showed them that the issue is because of the construction along the freeway, but then very rightfully, after the construction is done, all the traffic move away, and they will not have any traffic calming issue. So something to consider for you. Thank you.
No.
We're good.
I do remember when we asked them to do a study to show us where the commercial properties were in the city, so we can try to start, even though we didn't have zoning, to steer businesses in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the report. Let me see.
So we did prepare a current land use map where we looked at every property and we colored it based on the land uses. So that's in the report because transportation team used it as a base to, and we calculated the percentage of land use distribution within the city. So we have done that map.
Okay.
And if you ever, or when you go towards zoning, that map is going to be very valuable because it will help us decide what zones to put.
Okay.
I don't have a hard copy with me, but it's part of your package too.
Okay.
And that actually shows you the distribution as well.
Okay.
And we have all this electronically. They can provide that to you. It's just tonight's was focused mainly on the thoroughfare because of that commercial traffic request.
Okay,
So that's why they just want to do it, just a brief overview of what they've done through the thoroughfare plan, but all that stuff is ready.
okay, all right. I don't have anything. Thank you.
Thank you both very much. Okay, now we'll follow the agenda. Agenda item number 6, discussion and possible action regarding bids for the renovation of bathrooms in the Brookshire Convention Center. No. We don't have.
So so what I saw from the email is you received, I don't know if wasn't clear if it was a response to a bid or if it was just a quote someone gave, but the amount of that quote would mean you need to go out for bids for it. So, so there's really no, I mean, if you're going off the quote you received, then my suggestion would be that we go out for bid on that. Other option is that the EDC can handle this. If you want to go with the gentleman that quoted, then he can submit that bid to the EDC for their consideration.
We went out for bids and we went out for bids. It was voted on by city council and we only got one bid. Now, I'm not sure why Ms. Harrison
We,
didn't put that in our packet.
we don't have another one. I have that one.
So again, my question, but it was response to a bid. It was, you went out for bid on that and you got
Yeah.
one. Okay. That's what I was asking. I don't know. I mean, I think the safe route would be, because I don't know when that happened, it would be probably just to go out again. And if you still only get one bid response from that same gentleman, then that's fine. But I mean, again, the other option is instead of, having the city do that, the EDC is not bound by those purchasing requirements like that. So they could enter into a contract with the gentleman.
So go out for bids again.
Then whatever we have for the next meeting, just go ahead and proceed with what we have by the next meeting.
Yeah, it depends on the
Works
timing.
for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Because generally you put out for, I mean,
It's-
we need to
2
get
weeks,
it
something
done.
like that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. We only have one, it's only one. So.
Yeah.
Claudia's not here to present.
I can't remember. I just saw an email. It's all I saw with the item was, and I don't remember who the gentleman was.
Okay. We'll do that. Let's go to agenda item number 7, discussion and possible action regarding adopting resolution 1337, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Brookshire reviewing and approving the investment policy for the City of Brookshire.
So I think Mr. Chambers prepared the investment policy and some investment reports. They should be there. That annually you have to reapprove your investment policy, and that's all this is for the resolution.
Ready for a motion, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Make a motion that we approve the resolution 1337.
Second,
One of you ladies,
and let Ms. Taylor be it.
Taylor. Okay. Mr. Stamps, your vote.
4.
Mr. Green
4.
and Ms. Branch.
For,
Motion carries. Agenda item number 10, correct?
yes.
Discussion and possible action regarding repairs of Heritage Drive. Green, did you see this bid?
This is the only one I'm assuming that we have.
That's it.
Did council get a chance to look over it?
All week long. All week long.
Yeah, I don't want to put it off because every time we get just a little bit of rain, those citizens have to drive through a foot of water constantly, and I think we kind of dropped the ball when we didn't hold that contractor accountable. He did his job and he left. So it's left up to us to actually fix it.
Just make your motion, Green. Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We accept the bid for AAA for the amount
Second.
for the amount of $39,415.
Second.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Stamps?
4.
Mr. Jones?
4.
Ms. Taylor?
4.
Motion carries. Let's move on to agenda item number 11. Discussion and possible action regarding implementing procedures to provide an update to council about the status of council authorized projects or activities. Mr. Green?
Yes, Mayor Council, I asked for this to be on the agenda, and I wish Ms. Harrison was here, because there were several things down through the years that we voted to have put in place that needed follow-up procedures, and most of them fell through the cracks. And I think we need it in order to fix this problem. We're going to have to put some policy and procedures in place to actually have a structure on how we get this going.
That's all.
And unfortunately, our city secretary is not here.
I believe Ms. Connor's trying to speak.
Oh, do you?
After the last meeting, I was given the assignment, I've already created a law, a bonder that states after every city council meeting, your action, if it was something that was taking action that requires to go to the different departments, as far as the police department, as far as Mr. Kelly or whoever, and we'll attach the agenda with the minutes, with also a memo if we send it to Mr. Kelly, or if it's one of y'all that are assigned to the assignment. So someone will have it, and then it's a continuation log to let us know what was the update. And if y'all needed that information, it would be stored in the office.
Okay. Now, do we need to vote to have that?
You don't need a vote to have, would be the mayor's,
Okay.
discretion to run that process. But we can, one thing, it won't be another vote, but in addition to that, we can adjust the way our agendas are structured so that we have dedicated portion to every meeting. We can call like a mayor's report or something like that, and that follow-up can be where the mayor just gives that information to everyone so that you're not, left hanging about or having to try to follow up with the city. The mayor can provide that at every meeting.
Okay. All right. Let's see how this works.
Agenda item number 12. Discussion and possible action regarding invoice payments and reports, including bank statements.
My only concern, and I wish that we can separate paid invoices versus the ones that's pending. What brought me to mind with this is I knew that our mosquito pest control been running, but it was on Sunday at 12:15 a.m. That truck passed me going so fast. I don't know if it wouldn't. It's not mosquito season unless
Oh, it's still mosquito
Yeah, it's
season
still
at my
mosquitoes
house.
out.
I get that food check. But there's 2 invoices in here with 2 different, with the same charge. And there's, I didn't get to count them all, but if you saw it, there's 4 with the same amount on it. And 2 without that amount, got another charge on it. I do know that in the past, under other administration, there was a cutoff period on the spraying. Now, are we paying year round?
No.
No.
Okay, with that being said, I wish I had someone else to help speak on this matter, because I know I witnessed a young man holding a pipe outside of the buggy, spraying, which I know that's not what we
He just does the ditches in the daytime, and then he uses a,
The truck.
what do you call
Auger?
that? A SUV, a Gator, or whatever. Not a SUV, I'm sorry.
ATV. ATV.
ATV. Thank you, Mr. Stamps. At nighttime, he's spraying the ditches for larvae, is what I was told back in the past, but I assume that's still rings true today. But if we have a problem, then maybe we should have Mr. Worthall come in, or if you'd like to set a date for cutoff, Mr. Jones, we could make that a future agenda item.
Well, we already have.
I believe we all know, if we've been looking at these invoices, that there may be a concern there. My only request is that we all take a good look, not only at the invoices, but the season, as well.
But you know, the weather is kind of funny, and it is still mosquitoes out now.
Yes, ma'am, I believe it.
Okay.
We need to look that up, cause I know we do have that, the seasonal spraying. So we'll need to look that up, and make sure.
Are we ready for a motion?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we approve all invoice payments and report, including the bank statements.
Second.
It's on the end.
Mr. Jones? No.
No.
Ms. Taylor?
Second.
Four.
I'm sorry.
Four.
Four.
Yes. Ms. Branch?
And I abstain, Mayor.
So you have a tie then, I think, right? Which means that Mayor, you're the,
I think we ought to.
was it first, second, and there was no, abstain, which is no, and yes, that's 2-2, am I right?
It's 3-2.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Oh, I thought, oh, okay, sorry, I thought you said no, I'm sorry.
Okay, motion carries. Agenda item number 13, request for future agenda items. We'll start with you, Mr. Stamps.
I don't have any, sir.
Mr. Jones?
To get the process rolling for us, the zoning, would it be a discussion, possible action, or just a discussion? I know we've been through this multiple times, looking at the growth coming in, I think we just need to sit down and address the situation.
Yeah, I think we can do, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can address it. One way we might want to think about is, instead of putting it as part of a meeting, we'd focus one meeting, a special meeting on that, because it's so expansive, what we'd have to talk about. So we might want to do that, like set a special meeting date to start that process of talking about land use and zoning, if that's going to be part of that.
So the motion tonight would be to discuss and possible action regarding setting a date for a zoning meeting.
Special.
That's fine, that's fine.
Second.
Mr. Stamps?
4.
Four.
And Ms. Branch?
Four.
Mr. Jones, any more?
Acknowledgement of the YAC, Youth Advisory Commission, and officers.
Commission and officer?
Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
The presentation, our Youth Advisory Commission have started back up. They have submitted their applications, which are due in on Monday. We'll be picking those, the applicants, I think on Wednesday. And we want to present them to the council. That Youth Advisory Commission, which is made up of all ISD students, and also the officers that will serve as the Youth City Council for the city of Brookshire. The same group that we presented, different group with same presentation that we did the last time.
Anything else, sir? Mr. Green?
4.
Oh, okay. Mr. Stamp.
4.
4.
Taylor?
4.
4.
Motion carries. Mr. Jones, you said there's no more. Mr. Green?
Discussion and possible action amending our commercial ordinance.
Again, Mr. Green, I'm sorry, I can't.
Discussion, possible action amending our commercial ordinance with the setbacks.
It's our commercial,
Second.
I think it's your design standards or development standards.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we do.
Fixing improvements coming up.
Mr. Stamps, your vote.
4.
Mr. Jones?
4.
Ms. Taylor?
Oh, I got one more, Mayor.
Oh, I'm
Well, I
sorry.
had another one. Mr. Jones beat me to it. Discussion setting, I don't know how to word this, the plan for, to start a master plan for a thoroughfare. I think that's what I heard the gentleman say.
Master thoroughfare plan.
Yeah, master thoroughfare plan. Ms. Connor, did you get that? You understood?
What type of master plan?
Thoroughfare.
Second.
The thorough plan.
What Gunda was speaking
Mm-hmm.
of.
I didn't want to steal Mr. Green, Alderman Green's, line item. Can you put his name next to
No,
it?
sir, we good. This is the same thing. As long as we get it done.
We all in this together, it don't matter.
I'm glad we was on the same page.
Mr. Stamps?
4.
Jones?
4.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Taylor?
4. But I seconded.
And Ms. Branch?
4.
None. No more. So, Ms. Taylor, it's your turn.
None at this time, Mayor.
Ms. Branch?
None at this time, Mayor. Be happy and don't be
Great.
Okay.
Hold on. We never went back to visit your, agenda item for the building
This
standards.
the building standard. She was saying that, we had to have some type of like a manager or something sort. So I had a question on it.
We missed a whole lot of agenda items. We never visited, hiring a free company to, do online payments either for free, and I done a lot of research on 3 different companies, but somehow that never seems to make it back.
Ms. Connor?
Didn't make it to the agenda.
For about the 3rd time.
He wanted your signature. D3.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, agenda item number 14, council reports and community announcements. Ms. Corner, do you have something for us? No? Okay. Since Ms. Harrison is not here. Mr. Stamps?
Tomorrow night will be the last football game for the Falcons. Kickoff at 7:30 versus Wharton. It's also senior night for band, football, cheerleaders as well.
You said against Wharton
Wharton, yes, sir.
and senior night?
It'll be senior night, yes, sir.
Anything else? Mr. Jones? No. Mr. Green?
No, sir.
Taylor?
No, sir.
Ms. Branch?
No, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brother Mayor.
Are you ready for it?
I'll be in violation if I
Are you
did not
ready
do-
for it?
Those parents that are listening online and those that are here, we need your support for our Brookshire Youth Advisory Commission, which allows our young people to have their own city government, making decisions for other youth within our community. Those applications are to be turned in on Monday before 5 p.m. 4:30, before 4:30 on Monday. If you can and will, parents, we do have a Yak Booster Club, and we need all the parents and support we can give. So we're looking forward to great things with our young people.
Thank you.
Mayor, one thing before we adjourn, just want the council report, the lights have been installed here at our 90. What night are we gonna do the lighting?
We usually do it,
The first Friday of December?
yes.
I constantly ask about that, did you get my email?
No, I didn't see that. Okay. Anything else, anyone? I see somebody in the back had their hand
So
up.
that'll be December 3rd, Mr. Taylor?
December 3rd. Okay. Next agenda item is adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I'll take this.